Again, thanks everyone for signing up this lightning course and thanks for joining us today. I'm Stella Liu and here with me is my partner Amy Chen. You start with a little introduction about ourselves. I'm Stella. I have worked in tech for over 10 years. I have worked as a applied scientist or data scientist at different companies, including Shopify and Carvana. I currently work at an AI product team at Arizona State University, leading the AI Evals projects at the university. So this is more of a role at the intersection of industry practice and research. I've been working on AI Evals projects since 2023, developing AI evaluation frameworks and also tools, including the first AI evaluation framework in education and various real-world AI eval projects over the last 2 years. My partner, Amy Chen, is here today with us, has 10 years of experience in AI and machine learning. Amy has worked at multiple AI startups. She specializes in AI product engineering and growth. We would like to take this opportunity to share with you our real-world experience and our battle-tested framework and playbook. But before we get started, we would like to invite you to drop your location and your role in the chat. If you feel comfortable, you can also drop your LinkedIn and get connected with the rest of us. And also, we have only 30 minutes today, which is not a lot of time, but we have a good amount of slides and information to go through. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We probably won't have time to address it during this session, but we will collect them and respond to them in a follow-up email. Cool. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about evals. I assume all of you here today believe in AI evals since you're already here, but you probably have met people who don't believe in AI evals. It could be your boss or one of your stakeholders. Here are some handy facts to quote when we talk to those who don't. This is a number from a report McKinsey published earlier this year in March. The report is called The State of AI, How Organizations Are Rewiring to Capture Value. You can find this report online and you can download the full PDF. It's a very informative report. And in this report, it mentioned that 47% of respondents reported at least one negative consequences from generative AI use. And also the leading AI companies, namely OpenAI and Anthropic, also found out that traditional business insurance is not going to cover them. This is a news report published on October the 8th, 2025, so last week. It talks about how these two companies plan to insure themselves because, again, they're not covered by traditional business insurance, and they had to set part of their investor money to prepare for potential issues caused by their own AI products. Then there comes a question. If the top AI companies are so worried about the risks, why shouldn't we? These are good facts to reference, right? Hopefully by now your boss and your stakeholders are convinced that evals is important. If no, that's okay. We have more to share in our course that you can share back with them. Okay, now let's say that everyone's aligned. And let's do a reality check. Where are we today? Is this you working at a startup, doing no to minimal evals? But you need eval to build trust with your customers. Or are you working at an enterprise and you need eval to gain trust with your stakeholders? Or you need eval to get buy-in in order to secure resources? When I started working on evaluations in 2023, there were not many companies out there in this space. But now we have many more options like Galileo AI, Arise AI, Brain Trust, and also some open source frameworks, and many more. OpenAI has just joined the race in evals. Last week, OpenAI announced AgentKit, and evals is a big part of it. And this is a screenshot from their AgentKit announcement on their website. And here are some numbers shared in OpenAI's AgentKit launch. Companies are seeing big increases in both efficiency gain and also performance gain, like 25% reported by Bain Company in their efficiency gain in evaluation, also like 40% gain in efficiency gain, like 50% and also 30% in agent accuracy improvement with the evals tool from OpenAI's AgentKit. That seems wonderful, right? Looks like OpenAI has killed the competition again. Well, just use OpenAI's evals for every project, problem solved. But is it really? These eval companies, including OpenAI, focus on LLM as a judge, as many of you may be familiar with. And they also mostly use synthetic data, which essentially is just a different way of saying using model to evaluate model using model generated data set. That sounds a bit weird. Does it work? In fact, there have been a lot of research done in the past year or so showing various problems in LLM as a judge. On this slide, this is the 2025 ICML Best Paper Award. ICML is the International Conference of Machine Learning. This paper, Preference Leakage, a Contamination Problem in LLM as a Judge. It shows evaluator model prefers models from the same family. And this is not the only paper pointing out this model nepotism behavior. So what does it mean? If you use OpenAI's evals tools to compare performance between, say, an OpenAI model and, let's say, an Anthropic model, there's a possibility that it will always choose the OpenAI model. It's nepotism at its best, right? It seems solvable. What if I use a different model? But even if you use different models to run evaluations, you're still facing bias and many other issues. Funny biases like the one mentioned in this paper on the slide. This paper is Judging the Judges, a systematic study of position bias in LLM as a judge, published in 2024, so a little over a year ago. It shows that if you change the order of the options in the prompt, the LLM as a judge will give you a different decision. That sounds a bit scary, right? Does it shake your belief in LLM as a judge approach? Just think about it. You use LLM as a judge to evaluate your AI product. And how are you going to evaluate your judge LLM? Are you going to use another model? Then every model you use to evaluate may need another model to evaluate itself. And this game can just go on. In the end, you get a set of Russian nesting dolls, one after another. But do you solve the problem? Probably don't. And so in the framework and playbook that we propose, we get back to the basics. We start from the product. In our course, we will walk you through the AI Evals and Analytics playbook. That is a playbook developed by ourselves, a battle-tested playbook that we apply to real-world AI Evals projects. We ask you to come with your own AI Evals use case, and after 2 weeks, you walk away with an executable plan that centers around your product. This is an accelerated course. Within 2 weeks, you will obtain a systematic understanding of different components, the pros and cons of different design decisions. In the space of AI evals, there is no one-size-fits-all solution because every product is different. But after this course, you will have the knowledge and experience to design an evaluation plan that works for your products. We will also share a 50% discount code at the end of this session, so stay with us. Okay, so for our evals and analytics framework and playbook, what we found works in our real world experience is that an evals and analytics framework that maps to the development lifecycle. There are many evaluations run before deployment, balancing the scalability and also reliability of human evals and automated evals to ensure that you release with confidence, but at the same time, you don't get overwhelmed by the amount of evaluation or testing that you need to do. Monitoring is also critical after release. Just like any other software systems, but for generative AI product, is even more important because this is generative AI, right? Generative AI is generative, which in other words is somewhat unpredictable. So it's very important to monitor it in production so that you and others on your team, product managers, data scientists, and engineers can sleep at night. You need a way to monitor, and we need a way to monitor not just the health metrics. We also want to monitor the behavioral metrics and also to help you catch early warnings and early signs before your users do. And analytics, again, because of the generative nature of the technology, you need advanced analytics to review insights to support the product iterations and continuously bring your product to the next level. So looking at this typical software development life cycle, we map it to our generative AI product and we show you how to run evaluations, analytics, monitoring step by step and going through each phase of it. And as you probably figured out from the last slide, there's so much more beyond evaluations. Evals, as we oftentimes refer to as behavioral probing style tests done before deployment. You also need analytics. Again, analytics is not just health metrics. It's not just like how many tokens or like how many errors users ran into or like how many API timeouts that the system had in the last 24 hours. It's more than that. We also want to monitor behavioral and impact metrics to guide you continuously improve the product. XAI is another important concept. XAI is short for explainable AI. This is not the XAI from Elon Musk. Explainable AI is actually not a very new concept. It has existed since the age of machine learning, but it is also very relevant in this context. And explainable AI is going to be, this domain is going to be more and more important with all the agentic workflows, the agents designs of our AI products, or I call it agentic spaghetti. A small change in one part of the system can result in drastic change in the final output. And that's what I have experienced firsthand. And engineers come to you and ask, oh, how do we do? What do we do? How can we make this work? I made this change, tried to fix this problem, and then another problem came up. Evals can help untangle some of that, but explainable AI is the tool that we should use to look inside the implementation and interpret the mechanisms within our AI product. In our AI Evals and Analytics Playbook course, we will focus on evals and analytics and also touch on XAI, explainable AI. We have so many evaluation methodology today, but the majority of them, if not all, start from the individual component of an AI system. For example, like the RAG, the vector database, or the function calling of an agent. All these are necessary and important to measure and test. But if you take a step back and take a more holistic view, you probably will realize that those evals miss the point. We take you back to the product. We put you in the user's shoes and look holistically at different dimensions of a product, including metrics in different dimensions like quality, performance, safety, and UX. There are many decisions that you will need to make when designing an AI evals plan. There are so many different phases, maybe not so many, but there are some different phases in the AI evals and analytics framework. For each one of them, are you going to do human evals or are you going to do automated evals? Are you going to run single turn eval metrics, or do you plan to also include multi-turn eval metrics in your analysis? Are you going to curate your own dataset, or do you plan to use open source benchmark dataset? And when it comes to evaluator, are you going to use the off-the-shelf evaluator model, whether it's, say, an OpenAI model, Anthropic model, or some model you find on Hugging Face? Or do you plan to develop your own model or train your own model? All those are decisions that you will need to make if you want to come up with your own AI evals plan. In our course, we will walk you through each one of them, explain the pros and cons, and give you real-world examples so that you know how to make decisions for your own projects. And this is our framework, simplified, of course. Our framework consists of two parts: pre-release evals and post-release monitoring and analytics. In pre-release evals, we have different steps you can take to be able to scale and also at the same time to collect human inputs to capture the nuances. Each box you see here is in itself a process. For a pre-release eval, we start from a qualitative sniff test, and if it passes, we move on to quantitative eval. And for quantitative eval, it can actually be automated eval or human eval, or a combination of both. If it passes, we move on to experiment, or you can run a pilot on your product. And all that happens before a full deployment or a full rollout of your product. And following that, we have the monitoring component and analytics in post-release. There are quite a few steps, but don't get intimidated. You don't need to check all the boxes. But with this course, our goal is to give you enough knowledge to know which ones to keep and also which ones to skip, while still maintaining the efficacy of evals and have an executable plan for your team to run the evals. Different from many other AI evals courses, we will not focus on writing code or tweaking prompts. Today, with vibe coding, writing code is probably no longer the biggest barrier these days. Prompting also shouldn't all come from you, whether you're a PM or DS. You will need to work with your stakeholders and subject matter experts to figure out the things, the little pieces here and there for your AI evals projects. So instead, we will show you how to assemble a team for the AI evals project, how to divide and conquer, and how to plan for each phase of evals and analytics. So that you don't just blindly generating numbers to check the box or check the boxes, but you deliver evals results that you and your stakeholders can trust. Again, in this course, we're not sharing various evaluation prompts, but we're going to show you and walk you through a rigorous framework that you can follow and deliver real impact. And here we can take a closer look into the framework just to give you a feel of what you will learn from our course. Quantitative evals, this is one of the box or one of the step in the pre-release evals. Again, don't get intimidated. We will explain all of that so that it will be very doable and again, very executable. For quantitative evals, you will learn the detailed steps of how to run such evals. You start from identifying the roles you need for metric definition and rubric definition. You will start with a test run to help you estimate the needed test set size, and also invite human validation to iterate rubric as needed. You then move forward with actually running the eval. You can probably already see some differences between the framework that we propose compared to many other methodologies that you see elsewhere. We have here, we will share with you how we estimate the test set size, which is not often talked about in industry or even in academia. Many times when companies try to tackle AI evals, they or we just assumed that we need thousands or hundreds of thousands data points in our test set. And that can be very overwhelming for many of us. And because of that, some teams will just give up on AI evals because it seems just impossible to be able to collect or generate those large test sets. But in our course, we will show you, we'll share the formula with you and to prove it to you that you don't need that many data points in your test set in order to get an effective results or trustworthy results. And when we get to monitoring and analytics, do we jump right into the metrics? No, we will also share in our course how we process data before applying analytics. We'll share with you the best practice. And of course, we will also share real world examples on what to monitor and what analysis you should run and guide you through the exercise with your own AI evals project. And this is the playbook that we will reference again and again during our course. The playbook and the framework has been used in different projects over the last 2 years, and it is proven to be effective and is proven to be successful. It starts from the product, whether you're building RAG or agents, whether you're doing vendor assessment or developing in-house AI applications. You can use this playbook to design an executable plan. We will guide you through the playbook, section by section, with examples and discussions, so that you walk away not just with buzzwords or with buzzwords like terminologies, but a real executable plan that you can apply to your own AI evals use case right away. Thanks again for everyone joining us today. Again, our course starts on the week of October 27th, and the first class is going to be October 28th. And don't forget the exclusive 50% discount code LIGHTNING as shown on this slide. Come join us in 2 weeks. There's October 27th, we will have some pre-work, and on October 28th, we will have the first course. We look forward to seeing you in our first cohort, and let's build AI evals best practice together.
We do have like 5 minutes. Maybe we can
Yeah, if you have any
take some questions. Yeah. Stephanie, do you wanna? Stephanie asks, are the classes every day during the 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amy, you want to take this one?
Yeah. It won't be every day. We will have two classes per week. Each class is 2 hours, and we will do a lot of hands-on and not only lectures, but also hands-on practice on how to build a playbook. And in total, there are 8 hours of lectures, but really there are a lot of work after the class to figuring out all the missing part in your playbook, and we will offer office hour if you want to discuss details for your specific products. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an accelerated course. We have 4 sessions over the period of 2 weeks. As Amy shared, each one is around 2 hours, and the lectures, the sessions will be discussion based, and we will share real world examples, as I mentioned in this session. And our goal is to, because we know everyone's time is very valuable, we want to make sure that we make the best use of the hours we have during the sessions, so that you don't have a lot of like after work or reading to do after the session. So yeah, that's how we will structure our course.
Mhm. There was another very interesting question. We probably cannot answer that in 4 minutes. Maybe
Uh-huh.
Stella, you can take this one. So Stephanie also asked, the size of the test set is also very interesting.
Yes.
Figuring out how many outlier examples and edge cases to test is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm,
can
I know we can't answer it all right now, but do you
Oh,
want to give some pointers? Yeah,
I,
good.
I can explain a little bit about the question if that would help too.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
thanks.
I'm working with a use case where there are a wide variety of potentially acceptable answers. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm testing for the outer bounds of what the not acceptable, sort of answers would be and what can kind of
Mm-hmm.
get there. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is a great question, Stephanie, and we will also cover some of that during our course. But I'll try to answer it in short. It depends on which phase of the testing you are in, or which phase of the evaluations you are in. And for evals or for testing, the goal shouldn't be cover every single edge cases in most of the phases, but is to give us like a statistically representable scores of how our model performs. But again, then in some phases of the testing, if you're looking for showstoppers, then if you hit one, then you probably want to call it out. But for if it is for example, like quantitative evals, I don't think we will ever get to like 100% of coverage of all test cases. It's all about like random sampling and also like statistically significant or statistically efficient. If yeah, statistically makes sense for the evals project.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Um, Thanks. There were some people who came a little bit later. I believe Maven
Mm-hmm.
will allow you to look at to watch the playback. Um, so our next cohort is gonna start on October 27th. We look forward to seeing you in the class, and I'm actually super excited to um, see your actual use case and build AI evals playbook for you. Um, and I believe this cohort will have a lot of interesting discussions, seeing what others are building using AI and what kind of evals problem they're facing. It will be also a very good learning experience for Stella and me. Um, so thank you for coming, and thanks Stella for giving us this wonderful presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at stellaxamy@gmail.com or just connect follow us on LinkedIn. We are very happy to take questions on evals and analytics. Thank
Yeah, it
you.
was great seeing everyone today.
Bye.
Bye bye.